A lot of you, including myself, are in high school, and a lot of people find it draining and really difficult to do really anything else besides the schoolwork, because you try to focus on your business more, but then your grades drop and your parents get mad at you. Or you try and focus on your schoolwork more, but then your business starts to fail, okay? And so this is a very, very big problem that a lot of people have. But for me, and for most of my clients who are in high school, this isn't a problem at all, okay? So I'm gonna walk you through the 11 secrets that I use and I've taught all my clients to actually free up time to be able to do your schoolwork properly and get good grades, and also run an agency. The first secret is learn, don't memorize, okay? A lot of people spend hours every single day just trying to memorize material. But what you actually want to do is learn it and try to have a real understanding of it, okay? That's going to take less time and it's going to get you further in terms of getting better grades because you're actually going to understand the concept, okay? Most people are spending hours every day trying to memorize things they don't even know and they don't even actually have a real grounded understanding of. It's just going to waste your time. Memorizing things isn't really going to have a significant effect on your grade, but what actually is going to have a massive effect on it is learning and understanding the concepts behind it. The second secret is not doing all the homework, okay? So what I do is I do the first question and the last question, okay? And this relates to the first point. Once you actually learn and understand a concept, all you need to do is a few questions to make sure that you actually understand it, okay? Unless you're studying for a test, you don't need to waste a bunch of time repeating questions, okay? Do the first question and the last question of your homework and make sure that you actually understand the concept that you're being taught, and that's all that matters. The third secret is min-maxing your attention in class. So obviously min-maxing, you might have heard of from like video games, is basically either doing nothing or doing it to the biggest extent possible, okay? And so how that relates to your attention in class is either you pay full attention and you study really hard in class, which is what you should be doing for most of your classes, because you don't want to have a lot of homework and you want to actually understand the concepts you're being taught. And the way to do that is pay attention, ask questions, and do the work in class, okay? Don't be stupid, don't be Jeffrey, don't just say, I'll do it at home. Either do it all in class and pay a lot of attention and be really focused, or pay absolutely zero attention and actually get business work done in class. So for example, when I had my agency, I would either really focus in on the work or I would do lead scraping on Fancy Embossed in class. 20% of your studying will result in 80% of the results that you get, okay? So all you really need to do to achieve 80% of the results is put in that 20% of high leverage effort, okay? And so this actually relates to the first point. Learning and understanding the concept is that 20%. And just memorizing for hours and hours and hours is that 80% of work that isn't really that important. Pay attention in class to what the teacher says is important. And before you have tests coming up, ask your teacher what things are probably going to be on the test and study those, okay? And obviously, as I said before, when I say study, I'm saying learn. Don't just keep on memorizing. Secret 5 is that you have a lot of time. If you don't think you have time, you think you're busy 24/7, that's bullshit. That is you being undisciplined and you being a perfectionist, which is also just being undisciplined, and you lacking time management skills, okay? You have a lot of time, okay? Even though school takes up a lot of your day and you have to sleep for 8 hours, 10 hours, you have to be in bed for 10 hours, whatever it is, you have time. You can do both. It's not like nobody has been in school and made a business at the same time, or nobody's been in a 9 to 5 and made a business at the same time. People have had 5, 10 times less time than you and still have built a successful business. So it's not impossible for you to. And it's actually not that hard either. So I've actually got some maths for you right here to prove to you that you have free time, okay? So there are 168 hours in a week. Let's say school takes up 40 of those hours. And let's say you study for an extra 20 hours a week, which you probably already don't. And you sleep 8 hours a day, which, let's be honest, most of us aren't really even doing that, okay? And you work out and eat for an extra 2 hours a day. So that's a pretty busy schedule. If you're doing that, you're studying an extra 20 hours a week, you're going to school full time, and you're working out and you're eating a lot for 2 hours a day. And then you also spend an extra hour a day on hygiene, so your showers and shit like that. That would seem like you don't have a lot of time after that, right? That leaves you with around 30 hours a week, okay? You're probably not studying for 20 hours a week. If you're being honest, you're probably not in bed for 8 hours a day. So even with these numbers that you probably don't even have, you have 30 hours a week. That is a lot of time that you can invest into shit that moves the needle, okay? Secret 6 is getting more energy, okay? So we've just established that time is not the limiting factor here. It's your energy, okay? You have at minimum 30 hours per week that you have free, okay? That you can work on business. But the reason you're not is because you lack the energy, okay? And so one of the biggest things that I've found that will help you with energy is doing things in the morning. So that means getting up earlier and then eating the frog. Eating the frog is basically this concept of if you had a 3-course meal and somewhere in that meal you have to eat a frog, where would you eat it? Would you eat all the really good food and then at the end have to eat the frog? But when you're eating all that really good food, it's not really going to taste that good because you're going to be worried about the frog. Or would you eat the frog first thing and then after you've done that, you're able to enjoy your food? Obviously, the best answer is doing it first thing. And so this is what you want to do with your work. You want to do the most high leverage work, which is typically going to be your business work, or it's going to be something like revising for a test. And you want to do it very, very early in the morning, okay? So wake up 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., like very, very early when no one else can distract you, and do that really, really hard work. And the big part of this is that you need to go to bed much earlier, okay? You can't be waking up at 4 a.m. if you're not going to bed at least 8, okay? And that sounds crazy to you, right? But this is how people get ahead of you. If you can spend 2 hours every single morning doing deep work, Monday to Friday, that's 10 hours a week, okay? So if you're eating the frog, and as a bonus, you're doing this while fasted in the morning, because if you do this work while fasted, you're going to be completely focused and you're going to be able to get into that deep work state so much quicker, okay? 10 hours a week of deep work while fasted, and you're actually doing real good needle moving action, is going to help you so much, okay? If you're not doing this, I don't know why. 10 hours a week or 14 hours a week, if you're doing it on weekends, which you should be, is going to be a massive, massive game changer for you, okay? And if you can't wake up a few hours earlier and go to bed a few hours earlier to actually literally change your life, then you just don't want the end result enough. Secret 7 is your health, okay? One of the best ways to increase energy is actually just by leveling up your health. So one of the things you can do is so easy, just exercise for at least 30 minutes every day. So as you can see, I have some habit trackers over there. And one of the things that I do every single day is just exercise, okay? So that can literally just mean go on a run, go to the gym. Like for me, I do jiu-jitsu. So going to a jiu-jitsu lesson would be me exercising, okay? Doing this every single day and not being fat or not being like super skinny, being at least somewhat fit is the first part of health. But we have to think more deeply than that, right? Just having a somewhat fit body doesn't mean you're actually healthy, okay? You need to be having a clean diet. You need to be sleeping well. You need to be going out and getting sunlight. You need to be not sitting down for 12 hours a day. I'm not a health expert, but if I were you, I would wake up early to eat the frog, have a low carb diet, sleep for 8 to 9 hours a day, and exercise every single day. Number 8 is use shallow work. So we know the concept of deep work is when you are completely undistracted. Like for example, me recording this video right now is deep work, but there's actually a concept called shallow work as well, right? And so shallow work is just doing something on the side, and that can actually be very beneficial, okay? If you're completely exhausted and it's 8 p.m. and you're going to sleep, in bed, if you were to listen to a podcast or something like that, it can still actually help you a lot, okay? So this is what I do. When it's late at night and I finish my work, I just put something on in the background, like for example, an Alex Hormozy podcast, or one of Hamza's long form videos, or a training from any one of the programs that I'm in, okay? This isn't deep learning, it's actually just shallow learning, okay? But it's much better for you to do shallow learning than for you to do nothing and end up scrolling on TikTok. Number 10 is use your weekends heavily for your business work, okay? If you're doing this properly, you're paying attention a lot in class, you're being really, really focused in class, you're not gonna have much homework. And all of that homework, you can get it done as soon as you get home, okay? So that leaves the weekends to be, so you wanna have the weekends as a time where you have no schoolwork and you can be completely dialed in and you can literally do a 10-hour day, Saturday and Sunday on your business, okay? The weekend is gonna be a massive needle mover. And if you're someone who thinks you don't wanna work weekends on your business, go watch Alex Hormozy's video on brutal advice for his younger self. That's just gonna slap you back into place. Go watch that right now if you think you don't need to work weekends, because you do. Number 10 is plan your days and stick with it, okay? So there are 2 ways that you should be planning your day. Number 1 is using something like a habit tracker, like I have on my walls, where you can just basically see every single day what you need to do. So for me, it would be meditation, gratitude journaling, exercise, learning, deep work, waking up on time, tracking the amount of money in my bank account, which is something from Alex Hormozy, and reading, okay? So that's the first thing I do every single day. And then the second thing is planning your day out in 15-minute increments, okay? This is really valuable. I would just do this on the notes app. So literally just one column is your day in 15-minute increments, and the next column is what you're gonna do every single time, okay? And actually stick to it. So just try and create the most productive day possible on your notes app, And if you can stick to it for even 60% of the day, that's 60% of your day being ultra productive. That's great, okay? So make the day on your notes app as productive as possible and try and stick with it. And the 11th final secret is saving brain points by using ChatGPT for your work, okay? So obviously, teachers won't like this, but that's completely fine. Just find ways around it. Use AI, use ChatGPT, use whatever you have to do to get your work done for you, okay? Because you need to save brain points. Brain points is basically a concept to where, for example, you have 100 brain points when you wake up. But then if I go work on an essay for 2 hours, I'm probably going to go down to like 40 brain points because I've just used so much of my energy on that essay. But I want to use my essay on needle moving things like doing cold calls or taking sales calls, right? So instead of that, we used an AI like ChatGPT to do it for us. And so we keep the brain points and we can actually use them on higher leverage things like stuff for our business. And this is actually a big mistake most people have, is just not understanding the concept of brain points in general and wasting them. So maybe you wake up and then you spend 10 brain points choosing what you're going to wear today. And then another 20 deciding on what you're going to eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And another 30 on which route should you take to school, right? You should have most things in your life planned out, okay? If I were you, I would really recommend watching Sam Oven's video on how to make decisions. And part 1 of that video is called Reducing Load. And reducing load just basically means making your life simpler and making less decisions so that when you actually have critical decisions that you have to make, you're going to make them a lot better, okay? So if you found this video valuable, please, subscribe, like, do all the YouTube stuff, and I'll see you in the next video, okay? Bye-bye.